Hey guys, today I'm filming my Throwback Thursday of my yearly favorites from 2014. If you guys have never seen one of these videos from me before, I'll have my playlist linked down below. And basically, I'm going to be re-reviewing all the products I featured in a favorites video from 2 years back, letting you know my current thoughts on those products, whether they are still favorites or whether I have replaced them with something I prefer. My inspiration for this series is Kristen Game. I'll have her channel and her playlist linked down below. I will also link down below the original favorites video, and I will list and link all the items that I'm mentioning. This is going to be an extremely long video because I had so many products in this yearly favorites, and basically I still love everything, which is awesome. Some of these products are still holy grail items to me. So for the fact I've tried out so many products within the last 2 years and these things are still tried and true favorites, it makes me so happy. My first favorite is the Estee Lauder Double Wear Foundation in the shade 1W1 Bone. 2014 was the year I discovered this foundation, and in that video I had fallen in love with the original version of this foundation and I really miss it. The new version is still good. This is still my #1 holy grail foundation, but it isn't as good as it used to be. The foundation I mentioned in that video was very fair and very yellow. The new shade is still very yellow, but it is too dark for me, and they do not have a shade in the range that is light enough and yellow enough for me any longer, which is a huge bummer. Also, the old version used to have extremely full coverage, a matte finish, and last all day long. I would say the new version has medium coverage and it has more of a natural finish. It does still last pretty well throughout the day. Regardless of all of those changes, this foundation is definitely still a favorite. My next favorite is my MAC ProLongwear Concealer in the shade NC15. MAC NC15 is my perfect shade match, very fair and yellow. I love how many shades that MAC has in their line. And this is an amazing concealer. It does come with a pump. A lot of people hate this pump because they have trouble controlling it. I have no issues when I use this. I basically use the lightest amount of pressure possible. I do not try to pump a full pump or even half a pump. The lightest pressure possible to get out a tiny amount, and that's all I need. And I've honestly gotten so used to squeezing out the product that way that I don't even have to think twice about it. But this is an amazing concealer. It gives full coverage. It has a satin finish. This is a great concealer to use on the under eyes or on the blemishes. I also love this for my skin in the summer when I'm at my oiliest, and also in the winter when I do have some dry spots, especially my acne can get dry in the wintertime. This did not draw any attention to the dryness. This looked amazing. I do like this for the under the eye, but this is my holy grail blemish concealer. I do have the MAC Studio Finish, which is in a pot, which is what most people love for blemishes, but I prefer this one because I feel like it looks a lot more seamless and natural on the skin. This is my holy grail blemish concealer. Ever since I tried this, I've never gone back to using anything else, so highly recommend this, and it's definitely still a favorite. My next favorite was the NYX Stay Matte But Not Flat Powder Foundation. I had mentioned the shade #1 Ivory and #2 Nude. So when I had been using the Estee Lauder foundation, it was actually almost a bit too light, so I was using the Nude powder to get my perfect shade. But with Nude foundation, it's a bit too dark, and if I use Nude on top, I'll definitely look too deep. And #1 Ivory is the perfect shade for me, very fair and yellow. And Nude is a bit too dark, like I said, but I am using this today actually because my foundation combination got a little too light. So I do like having one of these on hand just in case my foundation does look too light. It will help match it out. This is also a really great yellow tone shade. I love these powders. They do give some nice coverage and they have a nice satin look on the skin. When you swatch them, they have a bit of a sheen to them, but you don't notice it on your skin. It really does just help you stay matte but not looking flat. This is an amazing powder, my holy grail face powder. I will continue to repurchase this, and I highly recommend it. And then I had a few bronzer favorites. The first is this Revlon PhotoReady bronzer in Bronzed and Chic. Unfortunately, this has been discontinued. This is an amazing matte bronzer that has 4 different tones. I like to use these two to bronze and these two to contour. I recently hit pan on these two lighter shades and they just kept shattering, so I decided to repress it, and I repressed the two shades together. I love this bronzer. It is an amazing formulation. It's very pigmented without being overly pigmented. I don't feel like it ever looks chalky or muddy on the skin. The formula is so nice. It is absolutely amazing. I'm so disappointed Revlon discontinued this because they do not have a comparable product in their line. I will try to find a link for this on eBay or Amazon. I'm very, very lucky because my friend Jean sent me a backup. This is one of the best drugstore bronzers I've ever used. Speaking of drugstore bronzers, I do have two more favorites I mentioned in this video. These are the Milani Matte Baked Bronzers. I have the shade Sunset, which is the lighter of the two, and Sienna, which is the darker. I use Sunset to bronze and Sienna to contour. Unfortunately, these were limited edition. Again, if I can find links on eBay and Amazon, I will have them down below. Milani does have baked bronzers in their permanent line, but they all have shimmer. It doesn't make sense to me why they wouldn't make these matte ones permanent. I love these. They actually smell a little bit like cocoa powder, which smells delicious. And as you can see, these are both very warm tone bronzers. And as a fair person, I should be terrified of these, but they do not look too orange on the skin. Even though this one is warm tone, I do use it to contour. I think it looks amazing. I love using these in the spring and summertime. They are still holy grail bronzers for me. They have such a smooth, pigmented formula. I usually don't like baked products, but these don't feel like a really dry, chalky baked product. They're very creamy. Absolutely amazing, and I'm so sorry these were limited edition. And now for blushes. This was like the year of blush for me. Starting off with some drugstore blushes, I have two of the Milani Matte Baked Blushes. They're regular baked blushes which have a very shimmery finish. None of those shades I'm actually interested in, but these two matte shades I had to try. So this shade is Delizioso Pink. It's a really pretty cool tone pink, but it isn't too fair or too pastel. I feel like a lot of skin tones can wear this. And then I have Bella Rosa, which is a pink tone red. And yeah, you think this is a color that's not for fair people? I absolutely loved it. I have two Chit Chat Get Ready With Me's using each of these blushes. I filmed that video 2 years ago, maybe even 3 years ago, and I still love those looks so much, so I will have those videos linked down below for you guys. These are actually the same formula as the matte baked bronzers. They're very, very pigmented and creamy. They're not dry, stiff, and flaky like a lot of baked products are. And even though they say they are a matte finish, they're almost like a satin, which is really nice because they don't look too dry on the skin. They have a bit of a life to them, but they aren't going to have any shimmer. I have one other drugstore blush favorite. This was also limited edition, unfortunately. This is the Essence Beauty Beats Blush in Groupie at Heart. This was part of a Justin Bieber collection. I picked this up from Ulta on clearance on a whim. I was only a couple dollars away from being able to use my $3.50 off $10 coupon, so I decided to just pick this up. I'm so glad I did because I love this blush. It is a really pretty pinky red color. It's very different from Bella Rosa, but this is a phenomenal formula. It is very pigmented. It feels very creamy. You do have to be careful when applying this blush because it can go really, really out of hand really quickly, but I love this color and I'm so impressed with the formula. I've never tried any of the other Essence blushes because the colors don't appeal to me, but I'm not sure if the formula is the same. Again, if I can find this online, I'll link it for you guys, but I was really impressed with this random $149 blush I picked up. And then I have some MAC blush favorites. You guys have heard me say many times that MAC is my favorite blush brand. I love how many colors they have. They have a lot of different finishes, but my favorite finish overall is satin. So here I have two blushes that were from limited edition collection in 2014. Again, I'm sorry that these were limited edition, but they are amazing. So the first blush is from the MAC Sharon Osbourne collection, and this is in the shade Peaches and Cream, a really pretty pink rose color. I absolutely love this shade. Again, it is a satin finish. So pigmented, so beautiful, and this is actually pretty unique for my collection because I tend to go for more peachy coral blushes, so absolutely this one is still a favorite. And the other blush is from the Simpsons collection, and you can see how huge this is. This is the size of a beauty powder. This is the shade Sideshow. It is also a satin finish, and this is the perfect peachy pink shade for me. So many times they're either too peach or too pink. This is the perfect pink tone peach for me. And I did have one more MAC blush favorite. It is this shade Cantaloupe. It's a really great neutral blush with a peachy undertone. I love wearing that blush in the fall time because I usually go with a more dramatic eye in the fall, and that just complements the look so well, gives a great amount of color to my cheeks that also has a satin finish. Cantaloupe is a pro shade that you can buy in pro stores, and you can also buy online. That shade you cannot buy in a pot, you can only buy in these refill pans, but love, love, love that color so much. And lastly for blush, I have two of the Clinique Cheek Pops. Back in 2014, they only had 4 shades. Now I think they have 12 or 14, which is amazing. So I have the shades Ginger Pop and Peach Pop. As you can see, these are similar. This one is a lot brighter and this one is deeper and more neutral. Love this one in the spring, love this one in the fall. These blushes have a satin finish, so they are not going to draw any attention to any dry spots, wrinkles, or acne. These blushes are more of a gel consistency, so I use a angled blush brush to apply them, and these are very buildable. You can add 1 layer for a light flush of color, or if you're a crazy blush lady like me, you can apply a few layers to get even more intensity. So I love how buildable these are. They do have a lot of pastel shades in this line that are not going to work for deep skin tones, but they do have a few really deep shades, Fig Pop and Cola Pop, that would look amazing on deep skin. So that's all for face. Now moving on to brows. This was the year I had discovered some Anastasia brow products. First is the Anastasia Brow Wiz, which I do not have here to share with you. I had the shade Ash Blonde Taupe. Oh my gosh, that's an amazing brow pencil. So many drugstore companies and other high-end companies have duped that pencil because it was such a phenomenal product. So that did draw onto skin and brow hair, which is very important for me because my brows are very uneven. The shade was very light and cool toned for me. I loved how skinny and precise that was because it was able to draw on my brows exactly how I wanted them. I think it's amazing. I would definitely still consider it a favorite, but I'm not going to purchase it any longer because in my opinion the NYX micro brow pencil is an exact dupe. It works exactly the same for me. It is about half the price. I can always get that one on sale and use a coupon, so I am definitely going to continue purchasing the NYX micro brow over the Anastasia, but I definitely think the Anastasia is still phenomenal quality. My other Anastasia product is the Anastasia Clear Brow Gel. This is amazing. People describe it as the hairspray for your brows, and I totally agree. This will absolutely keep your brows in place. I don't feel like it makes my brows crunchy unless I press down too hard and gloop on too much product. If I am just running through my brows, I don't have any issue with that. This is such great quality. I have one open right now and I also have a backup. A lot of times during the Ultra 21 Days of Beauty, they will have this on sale for 50% off. Highly recommend you get it then. I'm never gonna pay for this full price, but this is an amazing, amazing brow gel. I really haven't found anything from a drugstore that I think works as well. If you have any good drugstore options, please let me know, but this is definitely my favorite clear brow gel. My next favorite is an eyeshadow primer. This is the Milani Shadow Primer. I pulled this out of my empties makeup bin because I have used this up. I use this every single day for at least a year and a half before I use this up. You have so much product and you need such a small amount. This is incredible. I have very oily eyelids. My sister has the oiliest of eyelids, and shadows will crease on us in a heartbeat. They will fade, and this keeps them in place. If it works for my sister, it will work for anyone. I love this so much. So I like to use a primer to prevent creasing, and then I use a cream shadow base to intensify the color of my shadows. And I had 2 cream shadow base favorites for 2014. They are both Maybelline Color Tattoos, and they are both limited edition. I know I have so many limited edition products in this video. I'm so sorry. This is the shade Caramel Cool. This is like MAC Amber Lights in a cream shadow. It is amazing. I love this color so much. I have a good dip in it. I want to try to pan this, but then I wouldn't be able to buy another one. I love the Maybelline Color Tattoo formula. I love how pigmented and creamy they are. They do not crease on me, but I do use an eyeshadow primer underneath. This is one of my all-time favorite shades. This and Badge the Bronze are the 2 cream shadows I have to have. I love wearing this on its own or as a base. The other shade I mentioned as a favorite is Matte Brown. Again, this was part of a limited edition collection. I was using this a ton in my crease. This is probably one of the only products I would no longer consider a favorite, and that's because I haven't used it in forever. I no longer use bases in my crease because I feel like my eye looks are just way too intense and they don't blend out. Back in the day, I really didn't worry about my shadows blending and looking seamless. I just had such a harsh crease and I do not like that look anymore. I like to have a really intense lid and then more diffused as we go up. So I no longer use this as a base in my crease. I want to try it again. But I just don't think I would like it. So I definitely love Maybelline Color Tattoos. This is a great cool tone brown shade, but it's no longer a favorite. Moving on to some single shadows. The first one I have is one of the Milani Bella Eyes eyeshadows. This is Bella Cappuccino. It's a nice light neutral leaning cool tone tan shade, and it does have a satin matte finish. This is an amazing transition color. For my fair skin, I like to use a big fluffy brush and just blow it out. This looks so fantastic. I actually used it a lot in 2015 and 2016 as well. As you can see, I've hit major pan on this. I do not love the Milani Bella Eyes as a whole. I think the satin matte shades are definitely the best, and I've described these as colorful shadows for the everyday woman because they aren't too intense, like crazy eyeshadows, so I feel like they're more wearable. I love this shade so much. Once I use it up, I definitely will repurchase it. It is one of the best transition colors I've ever used. Then I do have one ColourPop shadow. This is in Sequin. This is a perfect mix between a rose gold and a copper. It does have a metallic finish. I don't love the metallic shades because they tend to have glitter that falls out on my face, but this color is everything. This is one of my most used ColourPop eyeshadows. I love it so much. It just goes on like butter on the eye. And next I have some favorites from my MAC palette. I did create tutorials with these, which I will have linked down below. My favorites were Satin Taupe, Cranberry, Ho, Deep Damson, Brown Script, and Woodwinked. I love these colors so much. The shimmer shades do have a really nice sheen to them. The mattes are so pigmented and creamy. I feel like a lot of people are over MAC shadows, but I'm so glad MAC decreased the price of their pans to only $6. So now they are the same price as Makeup Geek. I love Makeup Geek, but I also love MAC. I love this palette so much. I love all of these shades. I think they have amazing pigmentation, and MAC shadows are pressed a bit more tightly, but these are the first shadows I really ever used and fell in love with. So I'm used to shadows that are pressed tightly, and I have zero trouble working with these. With some of these shimmery shades here, I do have to apply a couple layers, but that doesn't bother me. I still love all of those shadows. And then I had two Maybelline Eye Studio Plush Silk Quads. So the first shade I have here is Irresistibly Ivy. This is one of the original shades they released, and unfortunately they have discontinued this shade, which makes me so sad. I love these colors so much. The only one I don't really use is this light shade, but these two right here are definitely stealing the show for me. This was my go-to shadow in the summer of 2014. All of these are shimmer, so I do have to add in some matte shades, but they are incredibly pigmented. And of course, I also had to mention a limited edition favorite. So this is Cozy Cashmere. This came out a couple of years before I even purchased it, but someone mentioned it in a video, and then I found these online and I purchased this. So this quad is very warm tone, as you can see, but it's also very unique because it includes two matte shades. With all the other quads, they are all shimmer finishes. So these two shades here are matte. They are the most incredible warm tone brown orangey colors. I love these two shades so much. A really great formula, and those colors are everything. I did have one mascara favorite of the year. This is the Maybelline Colossal Cat Eyes. So it has a little image of the brush. It has a bit of a scoop to it. This is a natural bristle brush in a wet formula. I love the shape of this brush. Because of the scoop, I feel like it perfectly hugs my lashes, really helps to pull them up. This is my favorite mascara for length. Absolutely incredible, definitely still a favorite, and I'm really excited to use this new one. Moving on to lip favorites, my first two are the MAC Patent Polish lip pencils. I wore these paired with these two MAC blushes. The MAC Patent Polish lip pencils are jumbo lip crayons, which are some of my favorite lip products. These do not stain, but they do have a little bit of a thick consistency, so they do last for a long time. These have a really nice glossy finish to them, so your lips just look really full and juicy. And I love these two shades. I have Go for Girlie, which is the perfect peachy pink. Again, I have a really hard time in blush and in lip products, especially lip products, finding the perfect peachy pink shade. Not too peach, not too orange, not too pink. This one is perfect and it really matches that blush really nicely. And the other shade I have is Fearless, which is a mid-tone pink that leans a little bit more of a cool rose color. So pretty. I absolutely would still consider these to be holy grail items. I love these shades and the formula. My next lip product is another MAC favorite. I didn't realize how many MAC favorites I had in this video. This is the Sheen Supreme lipstick in the shade Asian Flower. Unfortunately, this entire line has been discontinued, which is so disappointing to me. I actually do not like the traditional MAC lipsticks. I don't know what it is about them. I've tried several different finishes and I don't like them. The patent polishes and the Sheen Supremes are my favorite lip products from MAC. These are very similar to the Revlon lip butters, except they are more pigmented, they are longer lasting, and they feel a little bit thicker, which I like. They are not slippery. These really do stay in place pretty well for a creamy lipstick. I love Asian Flower. It is the perfect lavender shade. Love wearing this one in the springtime. So sad that this is no longer available, but make sure you go to your CCOs and see if you can pick this up. My next lip product favorite was the NYX Butter Lipstick in the shade Hunk. I had described Hunk as a wearable version of MAC's Rebel. So the NYX Butter Lipsticks do have a very sheer formula. That formula is very, very inconsistent. The lighter shades have like no pigmentation to them, but the deep shades are nice. I did have that one and Licorice. I did end up getting rid of those. I did love them back in the day because they felt so comfortable. They were very moisturizing, but those are very slippery lipsticks. And for the fact that I had deep colors, I was afraid of them bleeding all over the place. If you are someone that has a lot of lines on your lips or if you have trouble with products bleeding, I do not recommend those. And lastly, for lip products, I have the Maybelline Creamy Matte Lipsticks. I have the shade Daringly Nude and Divine Wine, the perfect peach nude for my skin tone, and really the only red type lip product I actually like. This is my go-to Christmas lipstick, and this is a phenomenal nude I love wearing in the fall time when I tend to wear more dramatic eyes and a lot of warm tones. These are fantastic. They are very, very pigmented, very opaque. These do have a bit of a thicker texture, so when you do try to reapply them, sometimes they can feel a little too thick, so I'll tend to wipe them off and then apply them. But these do last for a really long time. They're a very, very comfortable matte. They are not drying. I think these are fantastic. They have so many colors now. I definitely recommend picking some of these up if you haven't already, and I definitely would still consider this line and these shades a favorite. And lastly, I have a ton of nail polishes. So the first two were actually a combination I wore in the winter time. These are two L'Oreal nail polishes. These are the only L'Oreal polishes I have in my collection, but I'm very, very impressed by them. So the first one is one of the L'Oreal Collection Privy, which is the nude polish collection from all of their celebrity spokeswomen. And this is in the shade Doutzen's Nude. And then I have one of their Gold Dust Texture polishes, which no longer exist. And this is in the shade The Statement Piece, the perfect white gold color. A really, really nice textured formula. I was so impressed with this. Both of these are opaque in 2 coats. I don't really have any shades like this. I love, love, love this manicure in the wintertime, especially in February for some reasons. So for years and years, I had been on the hunt for the perfect peach and coral nail polish, but I have the same problem. Either they're too pink, too orange. I'm not able to find that perfect color, but I did this year, which was so exciting for me. My perfect peach is the Formula X nail polish in the shade Alive. This is like a sherbet color. It has a little bit of pink to it, but it's definitely more of a white tone peach. Unfortunately, all of the Formula X polishes are being discontinued from Sephora, so if you can find this one, I highly, highly recommend it. They're all on sale for $5. This polish is opaque in 3 coats, which I do expect with pastel colors, but it's a really nice formula and the perfect peach for me. My perfect coral would be Zoya's Wendy. I love Zoya's polishes. Their creams are all opaque in 2 coats, almost 1. I love the brush. It is a bit smaller, but it is a little bit thick, so it does hold a lot of polish. But Wendy is the perfect pink tone coral. I love this shade so much. A go-to for me in the summertime. Absolutely still a favorite. And then I fell in love with 2 Wet n Wild polishes, which were part of a limited edition collection. Like, I know how many limited edition products I have in here. The amount is ridiculous, but these polishes are 99 cents and they're amazing. I don't know if you guys can actually see the lines. I've used up quite a bit of these. I use these every single year. This is another really, really great pink tone peach, and this is a perfect cornflower blue. These are both opaque in 2 coats. Seriously, these polishes are 99 cents. They're amazing. My next polish is OPI. My dog sled is a hybrid. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous seafoam green type of shade. It has a lot of brightness to it, but it's still kind of muted, opaque in 2 coats. I love OPI polishes. And then I have 3 Berry M polishes. These are the jelly polishes. I have Greenberry, Prickly Pear, and Blueberry. Greenberry is the most unique, bright, neon seafoam green I've ever seen. These 2 shades are not as unique, a really pretty lilac and a periwinkle shade. These are not the most unique, but I love blues, purples, and minty green colors. Those are my favorite nail polishes. These are nice. They're like a gel polish, but these do take 3 coats to be opaque. You need to be careful not to apply too thick of a coat because it can get kind of gloopy and uneven. I would not consider these a favorite anymore. I don't think the formula is on par with any of these other polishes, but I especially love the color Greenberry. And this is a brand that you cannot get in the US, I believe. And my last polish favorite is a top coat. This is the Glisten and Glow HK Girl top coat. I've actually used up one completely and repurchased this. I think this is about $8, but totally worth it. I have always had my polish chip off in about 3 days. No matter what brand it is, all of my polish chip like crazy. With this top coat, I can have a manicure last me 5 days without chipping, and then probably 7 days until it gets to major chipping. And it's all thanks to this top coat. A lot of people say it doesn't shrink their polish. For me, it does shrink a tiny bit. After a few days, I can just see the tips of my nails, but that does not bother me at all because this does such a great job. It does dry pretty quickly. It is nice and thick. It gives a really great coat on top of your polish. The best top coat I've ever used. So guys, this was my hella long Throwback Thursday of my 2014 beauty favorites. So if you guys do a similar video on your channel, please let me know so I can go check it out. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.